In November, I read only one book, but it's possibly my favorite book of the year. So hi and welcome back, my fellow fantasy book lovers, or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Kathy and I'm a fantasy book lover from Belgium. For today's video, I want to talk about the only book that I read during the month of November, and if you see the size of it, you will understand. And it is, of course, my most anticipated read for the entire year, and it is Empire of the Dawn by Kristoff. Now, this book series, this trilogy, has held me in a grasp that I cannot explain. This trilogy is my holy grail. These are the best books that I've read in a long time, and they have made it to the same level as reading The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings for the first times, and the impact that those books have had on my reading journey. So Kristoff, I know you probably won't see this, but if you do, thank you. Because this series is to die for. It is amazing. It has all of the elements that I like in books, that I like to read, with just the right balance of everything. So before I get into the details of this book, Empire of the Dawn is the third book in the Empire of the Vampire trilogy by Kristoff. Book 1 is called Empire of the Vampire, Book 2 is called Empire of the Damned, and Book 3 is Empire of the Dawn. These are all three chunks of books, and let me tell you, they are worth every single page. The intrigues that take place in these books, the plot twist at the total end that I was like, holy shit, I did not see that happening at all. It was amazing. So if you've been looking into reading these books, if you've heard me yap about them, do it. You will not regret it. So what are the Empire of the Vampire books about? Well, it is a world with vampires, obviously, but the books are set up in a style that you read a little bit as an interview with the vampire. So the storytelling of the book is done in this interview form, with all of its flaws and imperfections, but it also makes that the narrator can quickly change from past to present and going back to different events that happened that are extremely important in this book series. So it's not like we follow Gabriel de Leon, our main character, from being very young then to nowadays. No, it's like it jumps a little bit between how he got in this situation in the first place, what has happened, what is Days Dead, etc. Because in this world, Days Dead has happened a while ago, and Days Dead is literally the sun no longer rising or no longer being visible. It's like permanently very extremely clouded. You can tell a difference between day and night, but not because there's so much sun. It's really always doom and gloom, and that really helps with the scene setting of these books. Now, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but the last book is called Empire of the Dawn, so we know it's going to be a kind of happy ending. If you are currently reading these books, no, you're going to be in for a ride. If you haven't read these books, you're going to be in for a ride. I'm someone who is very easily predictable. Like, I can see some of the things happening from very far away. For example, I just read a book where the main character had to look for 4 artifacts, and I was like, the first one is going to be there, and it was there, and she only found it at the end of the book. That's not what happened with these books. These books kept me on edge. I did not know what was going to happen. It was so fun to read these. So yes, I gave this book a 5-star rating. I think that is normal that I give it a 5-star rating. The entire trilogy is 5 stars, or even 6 stars, or whatever many stars I can give it. These books are so good. Now, this is a mix of epic fantasy with vampires. There is a lot of blood and gore and fighting happening in there. There is romance, there are explicit scenes, people die, animals die, a little bit of everything dies in these books, which is the basic setup. You have both the smaller fights happening like during travels, like when they go from one spot to the other, but there's also like big epic battles, like the Lord of the Rings battles is a little bit of a good comparison, that are happening in these big keeps, in these cities. There are still humans alive, but there's like a lot of things happening. Yeah, this series has me in like such a grip. And one of the things that I also thoroughly enjoy about Kristoff is that he's not afraid to do things that don't make him specifically popular, like killing horses is one of them. Not all of the horses in these books survive. Some of them do, some of them don't. There's also an entire thing happening about potatoes. So one of the only crops that still grow are potatoes. So every single character in these books is tired of potatoes and mushrooms. What else is there to say? J. Kristoff made playlists. So there is a Spotify playlist for Empire of the Vampire, Empire of the Damned, and Empire of the Dawn. And if you read the books and you put on the playlist, you will notice which songs fit with which scenes or chapters or like zones of the book is the best way to describe it. And I'm really happy that he did it because I rediscovered a few bands like Spirit Box. So both in a bookish sense, as in a music sense, as in like a cultural sense, I think I've gained a lot from these books and from J. Kristoff as an author. So it's a really big shame that his European tour did not go into Europe because he completely skipped Belgium, France, the Netherlands, Germany. So all of the countries around me, I'm from Belgium, were not even included. He just did like a UK part, which sucks to be honest. So Jay, if you see this, please come back to Belgium one day so I can get all of my books signed, because I'm obsessed with this series. I have the normal hardcovers, I have the colored editions, and I have the Illumicrate edition. So I have 3 editions of each book. Well, we're still waiting on the colored edition of Empire of the Dawn. And that's one note that I have for this book. Not everything is positive, not everything is perfect. They changed the person who does the illustrations for book 3 because the original one, for some reason, could not make the deadlines. But I feel like the artwork of books 1 and 2 is so oddly perfect and specific with these books that when I saw the artwork in book 3, it doesn't click. I don't like it at all. I will still probably get the colored edition just to have the matching edition on my shelves, but I would prefer if they had reworked with the same artist, if they had that person doing the artwork, because I feel like the artwork style of the first books is almost like stained glass windows artwork. Very stylized, not hyper realistic. And then with this one, it's almost as if you're looking at pictures, like when you take a picture of someone. And I felt it took away from my imagination of the characters. And also some of the characters are portrayed completely different in book 3 than they were in book 1 and 2. One of the main characters that I struggled with suddenly as being portrayed completely different is Dior, because in book 1 and 2, Dior is described as this like, you don't know if it's a boy or a girl, and in the artwork it's just like very regal looking. And then in this book it's completely different, and it takes away from the image that I had in my mind. It takes away from the fantasy, and I just feel like it doesn't do justice. And then I'm gonna show you the one that I hate the most. It is this one. It is at the total end of the book. So this is the image I hate the most. Why? Because it portrays Gabriel de Leon with his Astrid and his little girl. But we all know things that happen during the books. And here they're portrayed as this like perfectly soft, floral, whatever the fuck family. And this is just not fitting with anything of these books. So there are a bit of discussions about the artwork, that the artist who did the work for this book has actually completely taken the concepts from the other artist that already had started on some of them, just reworked them a little bit. Like, if you put them next to each other, it's very blatantly obvious that they have not done any research or nothing. And then the artworks that they have done by their own, I just simply don't like them. They don't fit the vibe of the books at all. In that aspect, I'm very disappointed in them. So even if this series is like book-wise excellent, perfection, everything, I feel like the images in book 3, so the drawings in book 3, are not a fit at all. So that's the only complaint I have about them. I hope they could maybe some way redo a version with the original artist, because they knew what they were doing. Their artwork fit these pages and these concepts so well, and now I just feel like it's meh. So this was the only book that I read during the month of November, but honestly, I have no regrets at all. It is one of my favorite books of all time, and I cannot wait to see what J. Kristoff comes up with next. So if you've read any of the J. Kristoff Empire of the Vampire books, or if like me you finished the series, feel free to let me know in a comment down below what you thought of it. And if you've read another book during the month of November that is really worth reading, let me know as well. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already and you'd like to be, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I aim to make weekly videos and would love to hear for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching and happy reading. Bye!